welcome to another episode of the Funniest Person Podcast. I'm Brian Miller, and we're here talking about an amateur contest at Acme Comedy Company that's been going on for 30 years and has given us some of the funniest comics in the whole dang country. And we're here with two of the best. I'm very excited for this one, Tim Harmston and Mary Mack.
Hi.
There's cameras over there, too.
There's audio.
What's going on?
I forgot there's audio. I was doing my greatest silent movie acting I could.
Very excited to have you guys on because not only did you both do the contest, you did it together, which is pretty incredible. Is that actually how you met?
We did it together, but
I mean, not together like at the same.
not at the same
not
time.
as a two-man act. As
Yeah, we did meet that way.
Yeah, I think that is where I met you. Although I don't. I might have seen you somewhere.
I remember I met you there.
I may have seen you somewhere else and not
Told
told
me
you.
about it?
Whoa,
Whoa,
they call
that's
it
creepy.
yeah, they call it creeping.
Creeping, yeah. Old creeping Harmston. Back then it was called romance, though. That's the thing.
yeah.
Terms
Yeah.
If I wasn't sick, I would make out with you right now, Tim.
I love you.
I love you too,
Okay.
Tim.
You know, Tommy didn't tell me he loved me during our podcast. Chad didn't. So there was this is already much more friendly.
Oh, just a side note. That was 19 years ago.
Don't kiss me, I'm sick.
Wow.
Was it 2003, 19? I've done the math, but I still want to do it again. 19 years ago?
2003 was the
Oh,
contest that we were in,
That's
and it's 2022 right now.
Wow.
So
And so
Wow.
you've been dating for basically that long too. Obviously, you're married now.
yeah.
Well, I gotta tell you, yeah, we're married, and
I was there. I can.
we were dating a few months after the contest. I told my friend Catherine, my high school friend Catherine, that I had a crush on him because he had cool 70s hair or whatever. And I don't know, it looked like it wasn't 70s, it was like
that creeper
like-
70s
and
got a
he's
Ted
got
Bundy
such
hair.
pretty eyes. Does he have pretty eyes? Let Brian see your eyes.
Yeah, Brian,
He's
would
got
you leave
such
for a little
pretty
bit?
I
eyes.
was gonna say, Brandon, keep this recording going. You might want to say this for yourself.
Yeah, well, I forgot what the point of it. Oh yeah, so like a few months after that, we started dating, and then we weren't dating. We were maybe dating a few months, and then and then Tim called me, and he broke up with me. But I didn't know we were boyfriend and girlfriend. I thought we were just dating a little bit, and then he broke up with me, and I guess, wow, I had a boyfriend. I didn't even know it, and then I didn't know what to say because I was like, I had my polka band in Nashville, so we were recording some things. Don't worry, it didn't go anywhere. And
Was that the name of the CD?
yeah, and then I was like, okay, well, I'll see you next time I'm back in the cities, and that was it. And then you want to take it from there?
Oh, and then because you were living in Nashville, I was living up here, and I
Sure.
was
Well, I wasn't
Work-
full time in Nashville, but I was down there a lot.
yeah, you had an apartment down there, and I was working out on the road, and I was like, I don't know if like, is this, are we in a relationship? Is this, so I don't know. I kind of called and I guess I said, I don't know. I guess I did kind of break it off or whatever, but then you moved up here.
Yeah, I
You
got rid
an
of my apartment here,
by
and
the
I got
turf club, and I started
Yeah.
seeing you around a little bit, and I was like, what was I thinking? And then I got a 6-pack of Miller Lite one time because I knew you were into bad beer.
No, I didn't drink that. You drank it,
Right.
but no,
You drank a 6-pack of beer in your bushes, and then he went to the front door.
Edit all that out. Here's what happened. A year later, so we were friends. I'd say hi at the open mics or whatever. And then a year after that, after I was back over a year, Tim gave me one of those fancy cheese boxes with and we both did grow up in Wisconsin, even though I was born in Minnesota. And so I have this Wisconsin culture in me. And Tim gave me a cheese box, super fancy with that fake green grass in it.
Mhm.
And the cheese was shaped like a Green Bay Packer helmet and a football. And I was like, oh my God. And I didn't know what to say or do.
Was this out of nowhere? A romantic
yes,
gesture?
it was out of
No,
nowhere.
it was not out of
Oh,
nowhere.
it was out of nowhere.
Here's where it came from. I didn't just show up with a cheese basket.
You did.
You had gone in that year that we were broken up. You went to Los Angeles and you won the funniest female in California contest.
Yeah.
Funniest, and I have proof. I have
No, we don't want
pictures.
to talk about it.
There's a lot of
No,
denim
please.
involved.
Yeah,
But you won.
I always wear. That was my stage clothes. I didn't know it was called a Canadian tuxedo.
Oh, denim vest, denim.
I wear denim everything, and I had no idea there was something wrong with it.
So she won funniest person in funniest female in California, and then she came back to act. I guess you came back to Minneapolis, and I knew
was
you were
here
gonna be
already.
here. And I had heard from other comedians, oh,
Having a
Mary
fight.
Mack went to California and won funniest female, and I'm like, I better get the best goddamn cheese box they make. And so I went down to like Hickory Farms at the Mall of America. I made a special trip to
You went
Hickory
to
Farms.
Hickory
Hillshire?
Hillshire
Farms.
Yeah,
There's a
Hickory
Hickory
Farms
one
is
there.
at
Yeah.
Aldi, I think.
Yeah. And I said, what do you have for someone who's so special that
What?
and-
But also reflects my own taste, as
Yeah.
in Tim's own tastes.
it also
It
might
was
have been
all
the-
Green Bay Packer cheese.
Yeah, and there was a little Wisconsin Badger helmet in there, and then so it was covered in wax.
Sure.
You know it's good cheese. when
Yeah,
it's
but I never
completely-
had such fancy cheese covered in wax because I'm like, I can't afford that. Growing up, we were poor. And I thought, I guess you don't even need to refrigerate this. And which I found out is not true. And I just kept it in my closet as like a special memento for months and months and months.
Yeah, and then so when we started getting more serious, I went to where you were living at the time.
To consummate the
brother.
Well,
relationship.
now that she knew that, you've been there before in the creeping, but she wasn't
She
aware. You had to
opened the door
wipe
this
the
time.
prints off the handle before you leave.
Yeah. So I come in. This is like I don't know, half a year later, and we're hanging out in her room or whatnot.
When I say consummate the relationship, it means eat the cheese.
Yeah, I was gonna-
Right,
yeah,
oh, yeah.
exactly.
So I noticed in her closet that there's this box of cheese, and I thought, oh, she must have just kept the box. So I opened it up, and all the cheese was still in there. This is 6 months later. This cheese box was sitting in
I
your
didn't
closet.
know I grew up poor. I thought cheese and wax, you don't have to refrigerate it. That's why it's so expensive.
Oh, and I was just like, huh. And that reminds me of the time I bought you the nicest outdoor vase, like for your plants. And then I came home and you use it as the dog food container.
Actually, how do I have a story about you guys' marriage? But my favorite is when you made the heart. You picked the tomatoes from your garden and you put them on a
yeah.
heart shape on your coffee
Oh,
table so
yeah.
she'd find them when you came home. But then you got booked and you got booked.
Yeah.
And then they
Yeah,
rotted,
I
and then
wasn't home
they
for 3
acid
weeks.
melted onto your table.
Oh
Why do
my
I know
God.
cute stories about you guys?
Well,
this is very.
This is full of helpful tips for people.
Yeah, for
like
marriage.
cheese and wax, you still gotta refrigerate it. Don't leave acid on, or don't leave tomatoes on wood because they have an acid, and my table is all scarred up from it. But I mean, this is good info for people.
Yeah. Who cares about the content? This is more about what else do we got? We have dog advice. We've got
But Tim, can I tell you the main story? And sometimes we do it on stage together when we talk together on stage.
About the contest?
Yeah.
Well, let's lead up to it real quick. Yes, we'll do a
Okay.
quick build.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Okay.
simmer it in.
Okay.
But I just wanted to know real quick before the contest, how much comedy had each of you done?
We're totally different because Tim had already been doing it a year.
I started in March 2022, so I had about 14 or 15 months of stage experience.
Sure. And you've been coming here to the open mics?
Yeah, I wasn't getting on.
Okay,
And
sure.
so but we'll get back to that later.
But he went to the other open mic.
Around
too.
town, Grumpy's and
Yeah.
What made you do your first one? Like, what was the, you know what I mean? What was the impetus?
the first open mic.
Yeah, the first time
Well,
you did it.
because there was this big economic depression in around the end of the 1990s.
Sure.
And there was a writer's strike in Hollywood, and all the film production shut down, and I was in the film business, and so I had just all this time to I had to figure out something, and so my sister bought me classes at Second City in Chicago, and I took classes there, and I absolutely hated every waking second of it. It was
Improv classes
torture.
you're
Yeah,
talking,
it was torture to do improv.
Pretend to pick up the manhole together and all that.
Yeah, all that stuff. And
zip zap zop.
yeah, all of it. I hate, and I'm not ripping on improv, but I hated doing improv because I would always try to like write a bit, like really quickly write a joke. So the instructor said, "Why don't you should try stand up." So
Well, they're actually almost opposite. People think
Yeah.
stand up and improv are so similar, but they're almost opposite. in a weird
completely
way.
opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I moved back here, and I started going up from. I lived in Menominee. I'd come up here to do these open mics, and I just started.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So then you had not been doing it.
I had
or
not
so.
been doing it. In fact, the manager here at the time was like, you can come practice, and try your set out before you do your set, because you have to go through. It's at least 3 rounds,
Yeah, it's 3 rounds.
and so I never wanted to. I was like, why would I do that? I'm like, I want to be fresh for the show. I didn't understand. I didn't understand comedy at all. So, and before that, I had done one open mic in Nashville, and got no laughter whatsoever. And my roommate just signed me up as like a thing to do, like instead of playing clarinet. She was like, "Well, you should try other types of performance," and it was a gag. She'd sign me up for all these crazy auditions. And it was just fun for her mostly. But when I did it in Nashville one time, everybody was so quiet, and I can't believe they listened to me. I was like, I can't believe people listen to me they let you have like 5 to 7 minutes because it's Southern time, right? They got all the time in the world. Here we give you
you can
3
only
minutes.
get 3 jokes in 7 minutes in the South.
Yeah. Here we're like chop, 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 3 minutes, get out. But that's good. That's really the way it should be. But there is, so for like 5 to 7 minutes, the crowd was so quiet, and I was like, I can't believe how much they listened to me. It was so nice. Like I didn't even care. There was no laughing because 2 reasons. I was teaching band and music, and though it was so loud in class, the
Sure.
kids never listened to me, but these people listened to me. And then also I was the quietest person in my family. My family never listened to me. And so I couldn't believe it. They didn't laugh, but they were listening. And I was like, I'm hooked. and so then I was really poor because I wasn't doing teaching. And even when I was teaching, I was so poor. I was just given a few lessons and then trying to work on our polka album in the basement. I was friends with John Prine's manager, Al Bonetta, and my good friend, and so I was like in the basement of his place recording our polka stuff, and I don't even know where it is because I got so into comedy, I just forgot all about it. But yeah, I came here and I saw this ad in the paper that you could win money in the city pages. I saw an ad.
Oh.
And I was like, oh man, I really need money. I need gas money to get back to Nashville so I can finish that album. Because I was always up north in the summer. Like I'd stay in the cities with my brothers, and I had so much fun with my brothers. And then I, go between here and Wisconsin. And so I did it. I signed up and I got on, and I would write that morning. I would write something that morning to do at night.
For the contest.
Yeah. And that's how I did it. Because I was just like, I just want it to be something. I mean, I didn't know you could do it another way, to be truthful. Like,
Sure.
I just
But there's nobody tells you
No,
if you haven't been going to mics.
I had never been to a stand-up show.
And I assume you wrote probably 3 new minutes every time because you thought you had to
Yes.
do different stuff.
It was 3 new minutes. It was so bad. and I serious, it was so bad. But the people felt sorry for me, and that was almost 20 years ago. So they probably were just like, this young gal at the time, is just like, I don't know if they were sympathy laughing or they were laughing because it was so absurd, but they were kind to me, and so that's how I got into it. I just thought you wrote something before you went up, but consequently, I got my hour real fast because I wrote something new every time I went
You
on
still kind of
stage.
do that though. Every time I see you, you do such different stuff.
Yeah.
So it's, but I mean, you have figured
Yeah.
out that sometimes, keep a good bit.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember I only saw the final set, the contest set, but you had a video camera.
I had props
You
too.
had props, but I
I
think the
loved it.
reason why the audience loved you is because it was just kind of dangerous because you weren't prepared, but you were magnetic, and people, maybe it was your teaching experience where you were like, well, I better listen to this, and people listened and laughed, and your brothers are sitting right here in the front row with their pipe fitter. They brought all these pipe fitters.
Yeah, they're
And
so
they were
sweet.
whooping it up, and it was a
Yeah.
very fun night.
Audiences
Gosh,
can
yeah.
sense when stuff's genuine too.
Yes.
Like even if they don't know they're sensing it, they
Yes.
can sense it. And especially I think in the contest with newer comics, a lot of times, people are trying so hard to like be a comedian. I certainly,
Yeah.
if I were to watch mine, I'm sure it's like, hey everybody, how are we doing tonight? Like you're sort of doing an impression of a comic. So to like
Yeah.
actually come up and be genuine,
Yeah.
probably is just completely blows everybody away.
100%.
I had no idea. Well, there was no way not to be because I had never seen comedy before, and I wasn't going to any shows between the contest rounds.
Yeah.
I was just going to. I was substitute teaching at the correctional facility, and then I'd be like,
I like substitute teaching at the correctional facility, which is really the lowest rung of teaching possible. It's just like,
like substitute teaching is low, but substitute teaching at the correctional facility is low. But I'll tell you, they'll get your fingerprints immediately before you go in.
I
There's
bet
no-
they do.
Yeah, it's like there's yeah. So that was what I was doing, and I remember I did try to talk a little bit about that one time, but people couldn't relate as much. I'm teaching health ed to girls that had already had children or were prostitutes. And I was like fielding questions, and so when you're in that position, standing on they knew way more than I knew, so I would come on to a stage, and if it was silent for 3 minutes, that's easy street compared to doing that.
Low risk of getting shivved
Yeah.
in most comedy shows.
Oh yeah, and it happens. So
Yeah, now that
Yeah.
Willie's is closed, there's very little shiving in the Minnesota comedy community. Shiving has gone down almost 90%.
Shanking, though. There's some
Shanking
shanking.
still some, well,
Yeah.
Shanking's
Still
coming
some
back.
Come for the shiving. Stay for the shanking.
So you made it. So it's interesting. You almost had very different. Like
Oh.
you were about as different as contestants can be in terms of like
Oh,
you were.
for
You were
sure.
probably like prepped, right? You were like,
Well,
I'm
I
prepped.
wasn't.
Same set every time.
Yeah,
and
I
I
did
was
the
the same
same
set every
set
time.
I was like,
every.
that's cheating. He did that set last time.
But I wasn't getting on. Like, when I started, there was a lot of people signing
Oh
up
my
on
gosh,
the list,
so
and I
many.
wasn't. I would get on, and I would just eat it. And then I think I got on maybe 2 times the whole year before the contest, and I gave them no reason to put me on. I was terrible.
Sure.
So I really looked at the contest as this is my way to catch their attention. And
Yeah.
I almost felt like the only way I'll ever get on the stage is to win this contest. So I came up with, I had like, I don't know, I guess 3 jokes, and I tweaked them to where I knew where the laughs. I mean, for as bad as we all are when we first start, it was a pretty well planned, the plan was implemented the way I wanted it to.
Sure.
And so it was totally different. I was super I lived downtown, and I walked here. It's about a half-hour walk, and the entire walk for a half hour I recited the set
Yep.
in my head. I never stopped. I almost got hit by a car going across Hennepin because I was just in my brain. I was like, okay, and then I got here, and so I was completely prepared.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's one of the things that's great about the contest is that it's 3 minutes the whole time, because at a certain point it starts to become like, well, it starts to favor like more professional or people have been doing it longer. But for 3 minutes, just for 3 minutes, even if you're new, you can come up with 3 really good minutes. You
Yeah.
can be brand new, and that is an amount of time you can actually fill
Yep.
with genuinely funny, engaging stuff.
Yep.
And so it makes it like a really more fair in a weird way, more fair than if it got more time. Like a lot of contests will do like 3 minutes in the first round, but 7 minutes in the second round. It's like, well, that's kind of a different thing.
Yeah, totally.
You know, 3 minutes is a very specific, I think, smart amount of time.
That's a great point.
I agree, and I think the results have borne that out too, where somebody has, somebody who's just not really a professional, but they just have like the best 3 minutes of their life at the right time.
Yeah.
Then they win. And
You come up with a couple of funny jokes, and you have magnetic stage presence, and you can beat somebody that's been coming out for a couple of years potentially. You know,
yeah.
I think it's a fun X factor in that. Whereas like if it was a 7 to 10 minutes, like that's too much time to fill for a brand new person. Like it's not it's gonna get ugly fast.
Totally.
So you guys kind of so then you're in the finals together. Do you remember anybody else in the finals with you?
Yeah, he's doing construction in L.A.
Michael Johnson.
Mike Johnson.
Oh, I've heard that name before. Yeah.
Yeah, he contacted me one time, and he had done a few mics at the Improv out there, and then that's all I ever heard from him. He was fun though.
Very nice guy. Yeah. Very
Yeah.
funny too. I mean, he was very polished too. Very joke writer.
Yeah, and then Benny Kwashnic.
Oh, Benny Quash was in your year?
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Is he in the finals?
Yes, he was in the finals, and then I don't remember who else. I couldn't believe
Benny Quash. Yeah, I love that guy.
he had a great set.
He still does comedy. He's still very funny.
Yeah.
Who else?
I'm drawing a blank. I can picture him, and I can't. We'll editors note that in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll insert that in digitally.
Yeah.
Look
So that's
it up.
interesting because some people, I've asked that of a lot of people, and some years, if you go back and look, it's like one person whose name you recognize, and 4 completely random people.
Yeah.
But then, like my year, all 5 people like were around for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just it varies.
Yeah.
So now, of course, now we come down to the finals. So how does it shake out? Tell the people how it shakes out. And we know there's a happy ending overall. That's the good news. You're both here.
Well, I didn't deserve it, so him won.
You still don't sound 100% convinced.
I'm not harboring any resentment, but Tim's master plan came to fruition, and he won. And he did need to win because they didn't put him up you didn't get up for a year after you won.
Yeah.
And
Really?
He kept coming to open mic. They didn't put him on stage for a year.
Wow.
Because the manager thought Tim was cocky.
I can't even imagine.
I know.
Well, by the Lewis Lee, the owner, I had actually before I went on, I bet him a bottle of scotch that I was going to win the contest.
No, he didn't.
He
so
had me
afraid of
he had me
Lewis.
third. So right there, I knew that it would sort of start a long string of Lewis losing.
We're
my bet.
We're BSing. I got third place.
You got third place. I thought you got second.
No, I got third. Mike Johnson got second.
That's right.
And
Yes.
he disappeared. And I'm like, oh, well, this is a story we sometimes tell on radio or on stage together, is that Tim got first, I got second, and then Tim went up to one of my good friends from high school, Catherine, and he goes, Mary got robbed. She should have got second.
Because you still thought you should have won. No,
second. So it's like, well, we still got married, so I guess it all worked out.
Did you start getting on after the contest? Did you keep coming down to open mic after that?
I did.
So you win the contest, you get third in the contest, but then you're getting on stage on Mondays, and you're not getting on stage.
Not only were you getting on, you were getting like 5 minutes.
7 minutes.
7 minutes.
And you know what? I went to feature so fast. I went to feature after 3 times hosting.
Whoa.
Because Lewis said, "You're no good at hosting." He goes, "You feature." I was like, really? Because I don't know if ever in the history of Acme there's been a host who's been so bad that they put her to feature immediately.
Why were you a bad host?
Well, like people like Isaac Woody had to tell me things because I'm only used to classical music, right? Where I came up in classical music, where you just go on stage, you just do your thing. That's how.
So you weren't doing any, hey, everybody, welcome to Acme.
No. I in fact, because nobody taught me. So now I know how to do it, and I love to host. But I think the only thing I've hosted before were 5th grade band concerts, right?
Sure.
And junior high band concerts. So, and then all we do is you go out there and then you say, the first piece we're playing is the overture from blah, blah, blah. And then we play it. And then they have a program that lists all the things, and that's all you do. And acknowledge a soloist. Well, so Isaac Whitty had to tell me, sometimes if I'm hosting something,
This is a very gentle way to phrase this.
he was so kind. He goes, I like to say, after somebody comes off the stage, I like to say something like, hey, let's keep it going for Dave, everybody. And like, he had to tell me those things. And I just was so used to another way of performing, but now I love to host. And
So when you finished a set, would you just be like, all right, I'm done, and then just walk like,
Yeah.
"No, here's Dave.
I'd finish a set and then I say, your next comedian is so and so. And then people didn't really clap much at all because they're like,
You're like,
that's,
are we going?
that's an
Is it,
awkward-
I
Is it
remember
awkward?
watching you a few times being like, ooh, that was awkward. Like, ooh.
I was so bad. And plus I was playing music too.
I was gonna say, did you ever play music in any of the contest rounds? Did you ever bring an instrument on stage?
No, I don't know why. Because I couldn't do it in under 3 minutes.
Sure.
Everything was so long. I was really bad. So, yeah.
But Lewis bumped you to feature quickly and then headliner
Yeah.
even quicker than that because you almost
'Cause they
once
had-
you knew what you were doing, you filled up an hour really quick.
Yeah, because I was writing new 30-minute sets every day.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I didn't know how, and I when I would go, it was some people at the, Lewis, he's so great. He's like, wants to get stage time everywhere you
Yeah.
can to get to be better. So we went and we would do open mic at it was called Knuckleheads
yeah,
in the mall.
sure.
Yeah. And there was a fellow, he had a flip chart. He was great. Gabe or Abe or Gabe. He moved to Portland. Do you know what his name is? But he's a guy who came up to me. He says, you can do the same material and you can just add on to that and like build your set. And he was the first person who told me it's okay to do that. And so then I was like, yeah, that takes some of the pressure off. I
It does take some of the
I don't
pressure
have to
off.
write 20 pages every time, and I memorize it, and yeah, that was my approach, which was, I don't know, it worked then, but it would never work now because you had to do too long of an amount of time, and people are paying money to see you, so you want to make sure they laugh. So you gotta use your tried and true, especially if you're a corporate. You're doing a corporate, you don't
right,
want to ruin Christmas. But what was the question again, Brian?
So how long was it from you to, how long did you go between headlining and the contest? Like, when was your first headline set? Do you remember?
Yeah, 2006.
Okay, so you did the contest, and so it would have been from September of 2003 was your fourth set ever.
Yeah.
And then from the end of 2003 to into 2006, you were a headliner. Wow, that is very fast.
Yeah, and I know I owe Mindy Weiner, the manager at the time, and Lewis for noticing how bad I was. and Mindy always gave me stage time. And like, I don't know that would have happened anywhere else. So I saw her one time. She runs a business, like a restaurant or something, and I thanked her, and she couldn't understand why I was thanking her, but it's so hard for women to get stage time, and it really is. And all around, even after Me Too, all around the country, when I go to a club, I just see like mostly white dudes on the calendar before me.
Yeah.
And Mindy really made sure us women got up there, and I owe everything to her because I'm knock on wood, I'm making a great living now, and like I would have died, I would have drank myself to death as a teacher. I really would. I really would have. It was awful.
Well, you were a substitute teacher in a correctional
Yeah,
facility,
that
which
too.
isn't exactly Dead Poet Society, or maybe it is dead.
Well, they're literally dead. is
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
problem. So yeah, I really owe this club a lot, and Lewis has always gone to bat for me. When people have wanted to like cancel my week because they're afraid to have a female comedian, like Daryl Hammond. One time I was working with him in Georgia right when I first started, and I was featuring for him, and he wanted to cancel me. I'm like, Lewis, I already screwed up on my rent, and I need this money so bad to pay my bills. And Lewis called the club and Daryl Hammond's manager and told them like he didn't want somebody to do political or dirty, and he's like, she'll do a great job for you.
Yeah.
And like seriously, like, and then that opened so many doors for me working with him in that area too. It was just I wouldn't have the career I had unless I started at this club for sure.
Right.
But what's your answer to that question that I don't remember, Tim?
Well,
You
you what?
wanted comedy so bad that you stuck with it even after a year of not getting on stage here.
Well, the second half of the story is that I got in a lot of trouble and ended up being one of those correctional facility people. And that's where we really started dating.
We met at the correctional facility. No, I never. Yeah, nope. I refused to go to the boys' men's department. I wouldn't work with them. They're too bad.
So, do you have any advice for people doing the contest?
Oh wow. Man,
Well,
what do you think?
I have some general advice for contestants, and and who am I to give advice?
I know. I
much.
feel like all my advice is wrong.
Yeah, but
You won, and you
I feel
headlined
like-
You
fast.
did
I
win.
feel like I see people are gonna kill me for this, but I see where when you come on stage, use that opportunity right away to your advantage. Too many, I mean, it's and you have to learn this over time, but that's your first when you come out through the curtain. That's the first glimpse that the audience has of you. So take that time to say something amazing or something really
Get a laugh in the first 20 seconds.
yeah, and I mean, use that moment. Don't use the first minute of your 3 minutes to say like, so where are you from, or hey, how's everybody feeling? How about around and for the last comic that you don't use it for that. You've got 3 minutes. Use it to say something amazing, and then that the audience will remember that.
That's great advice because especially in 3 minutes, saying like, hasn't everybody been great about it? Keep it going with the other contestants. It seems like this magnanimous thing, and you're gonna get this applause, but like you just ate up 30 seconds of your 3 minutes, and like, who cares?
Yeah, and secondly, the audience is a little. They don't have unlimited clapping and laugh and
Yeah.
gratitude. Like, don't use that up for something as as unimportant as
How are you guys?
something that the MC already just said.
Yeah.
The MC
Treat it like a Mary Mack MC set. You just start.
just start.
You just get into it.
Yeah.
Just go.
Yeah.
Use
Yeah.
that. Use that opportunity. It's a gift.
Yeah.
That like,
Yeah.
It's a gift.
I love when I see a comedian come on and just the first line is great or interesting or unique or something.
And that helps you the rest of your career, right? Like
Yeah.
I have this set, I got stalled in COVID like everybody else, but I have a set that I want to send off to get to for a TV spot, and I can't bring myself to send it because it's that first line isn't good enough. The first line is the most important line.
100%. I completely agree.
It's the most important, and I have to I'm try to get back out on the open mics and do that to come up with one line. So I'm going to spend days and days and days and days to come up with one good line
Right.
to open with.
Yeah, and it's like I also feel like when the audience, if you're doing the contest and the audience just clapped for the last person, look at that as a wave, like it's like an ocean wave, and you're a
Yeah.
surfer,
That's
and
great.
get on that. Don't stop it.
Try to start a new wave and then
start
right
a new
yeah,
wave.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's just a matter of continuation of room energy, and I think and again, I'm I think it takes years to learn room energy. And I've heard other comics over the years give me great advice about having different ways to enter your set. And I'm the king of entering a set and trying that first line and then making the energy even worse. And you'll see some this week. You'll see some this week where I'm like, and I've done it at every type of show where sometimes but it's to me it's always better than keep it going for the last 3 comics. Yeah, how are you guys doing? It's like that's something that is not helping your first joke.
When you have 60 minutes on stage, I feel like it is okay to do that because in fact, that was one of the advices that Louis Anderson gave me. One of the bits of advice was when somebody kills in front of him, this was the best bit of advice. He overclapped the crowd. He would have them clap so much that they'd get sick of the person before him.
Oh.
And then he'd just start again. It's really what it is. It's a time buffer.
Yeah,
So-
it's resetting the room. I've also
Yeah.
seen I've done that if the person before you crush for 30 minutes and you're supposed to do 45, you've got a lot of time.
Yeah.
Maybe make it quieter for a minute. Let everybody take
Yeah.
a
Oh,
deep
yeah.
breath and then go back in. Now, in a 3-minute
You
contest,
can't do that.
you don't have the time for that.
No,
you got
you don't.
3 minutes.
And you know who else gave me a really fantastic bit of advice right when I first started? And he was one of the first people I featured for on those road gigs, where you go for Yoder and it's a 2-person show and you're hosting and doing 30 minutes, getting paid $100 and doing almost as much time
It's up
as
to
the
125
headliner. Yeah, so Rob Breckenridge,
Oh yeah, he's a great guy.
this is the other bit of advice that was for my career.
You have
Thank you, Tim. Oh man.
There you go. Okay.
Wash
better.
your hand. Don't put your hands by your face. I got a cold. So he said, have 9 different ways to come on stage. I always have 9 different ways to come on stage, and I do. I have, and I will stay in the room and I will watch what happens during the feature set, or I'm eavesdropping back there, so I can see. I judge the audience, and then I always have a bunch of ways that I'll come on stage, and it affects the whole rest of the hour. The way
What are
you
a couple? What are a couple of
enter.
them, for instance, if people are curious?
Well, like this weekend, I was down in Kenosha, and I could see the features struggling with them, and they were a great crowd, but it was just a little bit of a struggle. So I just judge the crowd, look around, see where he did a little crowd rap. He heard that 2 people were engaged. So, in judging by their ages, I'm like, oh, that's an old bit I have, but I'll just go into it immediately. When's your wedding? Like people are excited for you. When's your wedding? And then I do my bit about getting engaged. And then I do my married people bit so that it's nothing too weird. But then from then on out, I could do anything weird I wanted to.
But it also feels in the media, right? Because if you're saying when are you getting engaged, it's like you're telling that bit about them to them.
And it's a little bit about like Tim's where you're riding the energy.
Yeah.
But there wasn't much energy. But
Sure.
what I could pilfer from that was this is their age group, the age demographic. I'll do this. And then other times it's just a way to get them to pay attention. Like I'll call on people immediately when I go on stage. And so
You're so good at it. I'm so jealous when I watch, and I'm not
Tim.
bullshitting or trying to kiss up to you for.
At this point, what's to gain?
Yeah, what's the game? I mean, I already won.
Yeah, I was gonna-
Well,
But
I don't know if you won.
But I always tell people, like when I watch you do your thing, I'm like, oh, like it's kind of it's courageous in the sense that you're taking some risks right up front and
Yeah.
maybe talking to people that don't want to talk or whatever. But it seems to always sort of open up people's, I used to just go right into my jokes too. Like that was always, hi everyone, I'm Tim. Here's your jokes, and it wasn't working after a while. So you have to
be an entertainer.
Have to be an entertainer, not joke robot.
But there's
Yeah.
other times when you notice the crowd, like in New York City, there's a lot of rooms where I'll just go right up there, boom, boom. I'll do like what I think will be my next 5-minute TV set. I'll just do that right up front, even if I know it would get more laughs at the end. I'll do it up front so they can see I can write, and then I'll go a little more willy-nilly in the middle. But it's just all about judging that audience and paying attention, There's nothing worse than, and I know I'm probably guilty of doing it, but when a feature, so I used to just hate when the headliners were outside of the room or not paying too much attention, and they would call on the exact same people as the feature.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, come on, the audience already heard from these people and you're asking them the exact same questions. Pay attention.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Especially why it's kind of irritating when a feature does a ton of crowd work, because you're like, oh, great, now I got to sit back here with a cocktail napkin and make a map out of every single person who's been in here. I hate doing that, because like it's different when you're on stage and you're looking at them engaged, but you're like, all right, that's Shauna, she's with Brad, he's in
so in those cases I just do a set, because if
we've gotten off track on
on the contest.
On the contest. I want to tell
job,
this
Tim.
just so this is on vinyl, or what is this vinyl, Brandon? Okay, just so this is on vinyl for the historical
and VHS cassette.
And
it'll be a 1999. You can buy a VHS tape that we'll send to you.
And I didn't tell. I told it when I was at the Acme 30th. It's a story about how what happened the day after I won the contest.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure I was obviously here.
You saw you're the only comedian that came in and watched the people's sets. So
no, you and I. I was at every person's set.
I was at the 30th. There was no way I was missing anybody.
I know. I didn't miss one person.
I don't. Okay. So basically what happened is I won, and we, it was a big party here at Acme Monday night. Everybody, I probably got pretty lit up and was whooping it up. And then the manager said, do you want to go on the radio with the headliner, and talk about your contest win? And I was like, oh my gosh, absolutely. That'd be great. And, and so I thought that meant that, I was nervous. Like I thought, oh, this is real exciting for me to win the contest.
Never been on the radio.
Never been on the radio. Wasn't really sure how it worked, but so I got picked up.
Tell them what radio station, so they get a picture.
I think
93X.
It was 93X.
Like headbanging, really rough guy DJs.
Yeah, it was like 93X, and it was
Hurricane and Critter in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And all right, that was Nickelback. Now we're gonna get into some Stained. so
Corn,
then,
all that.
Corn.
Yeah.
And then so I was like, so I got in the car with it was like 7 a.m. or whatever the next day, and I go to the radio station. I think it was Will Durst was the headliner.
Oh wow, that's
cool. Who was a great guy and really funny and Acme regular. And so we get to the radio station. I'm kind of sweating, but I'm not saying much. I'm just really trying to figure out how's this gonna go and what do I say? When do I say it?
Right.
So we sit down and put your headsets on, and then they're going around, and Will's just throwing jokes out left and right.
Of doing radio at that point.
Gosh, like one of the all-time masters. So I'm just like waiting, like, when do I say something? When do I come in? Are they going to ever ask me anything? Like, how does this work? And then, and so then they're like, all right, also in the studios with us is Tim Harmston. Tim Harmston won the funniest person in the Twin Cities contest. And so tell us, how did it go last night? And I was like, oh man, it was so fun. And, I just did my jokes, and then I won, and like, all right, so back to you, Will. So how does the week go? You got any new jokes? You got any specials coming up? I'm like, oh, I wonder if that was it. Like, is that all I get? And then they start, and so I'm like, well, I gotta assert myself here. I gotta
show dominance.
Like, find a place to go. I'm the funniest person in the Twin Cities, And so
it's official.
Yeah, it's official. It's not. And so then they start. So like, all right, we'll go to a break and we'll come back. And then they're like, all right, we're back. Hey, just the Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson sex tape came out, and what a story that was. What'd you think of that? Will's just throwing out one-liners at it, and then they kind of like look at me for a brief glance, and I said, all right, here it comes, and I said, yeah, that Tommy Lee's got a lot to work with. And there's this like really long pause, and he's like, all right, well, that's the funniest person in the Twin Cities, everybody. Tim Harmston won the funniest person contest.
He's got a lot to work with.
And then I'm like, damn, that was stupid. That was so stupid. And then like, And then it was like a silent ride home back to Acme where they dropped me off, and then I like walked home, and it was just like, so all the elation of the night before, it just sort of like fizzled
nice
out.
puncture. You're like, I'm back.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We're back to reality.
Well, thank you guys so much for doing the podcast, and thanks for coming in.
Oh,
and
thank you.
yeah, any parting words of wisdom for the contestants?
Oh man,
This year?
that first opening line. Get
Yeah,
out there.
that really is. That's,
Hey, how about no rape jokes? Wouldn't that be nice if it was?
that's a decent rule in general. I would personally say.
I guess. I mean, it's good if it's a. I mean, like if it's a good joke, great. But just don't do it if you're not that good. Why don't you wait till you're 12 to try that? That's my bit of advice.
Is that what you heard from the correctional facility people? They're like, that's a little much.
Yeah.
Even they were offended.
Yeah.
I think my advice is to do the same set every round if you really are serious about this.
Yeah.
But make it better. Like tape it and then say, what did I do wrong there?
Can I trim this down and add a punchline?
Yeah, and try to remember that the person that's probably going to win is the person that gets the most laughs in 3 minutes. And so don't waste any movements.
Tape it, record it on your voice memos, write it out by hand, transcribe it. Don't be lazy. Write it all out, and then cut out words. And I try, but I'm guilty of way too many words because I have way too much fun on stage and I ruin everything. But do that. Write it out because you can see what you don't need, and you'll get so much better faster. You know.
Yep. Yeah. That's absolutely great advice.
Cool.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you guys very much. And
Thank you, Brian.
we'll see you around.
Awesome.
All right,
Thank
thank you.